Hello, this is Gangrel the Vampire Warrior, and you're fanging and banging to the Wrestling Buddies podcast. Want some, get some, bad enough, take some. Check them out. Hey, buddy. Let's wrestle.
One, two, three. You, I win. Hey, buddies, and welcome to Wrestling Buddies Match 2. I am your host, Joshua Reckless, and with me is
the Bonesaw, Rob Buck.
And Jeffy, the Jammer Minaglia.
all right. We are fresh off of Backlash 2024, and in true wrestling podcast host fashion, I don't think any of us watched it.
No.
I watched the first match, and then I fell asleep. No disrespect to the product. I'm very tired most of the time.
So thanks for coming to us for all your wrestling knowledge. Well, on that card, the Bloodline defeated Randy Orton and Kevin Owens in a street fight. And some interesting stuff happened there. Whether you watched it or not, it's been on social media. You guys have any thoughts on that?
I can't wait.
Tangaloa, baby.
Give me Gorillas of Destiny versus the Usos ASAP. Inject that shit in my veins.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
The perfection of it was the misdirect, because everyone had been widely reported, even by the man himself.
Yeah.
Jacob Fatu is on his way to WWE. He's already signed, so we were all waiting for Jacob Fatu. Nobody even knew Tangaloa was leaving New Japan.
True.
Yeah.
This was an Aleister Black and AEW type of reveal where it's like, wait, that was a possibility?
Right? Yeah, I'm stoked. I hope they're able to do the Gorillas Destiny stuff. I'm hoping they're able to put the face paint on, because I've been a huge fan of theirs for years. I'm hoping we get it.
Yeah. Shout out to Michael Cole and Corey Graves for it's guerrilla warfare for the Bloodline. Destiny has brought Tangaloa back home. It's like, I see what you did there, guys.
Nice. Other results. I think that's like my highlight of the night, and it was the opening bout. We had Bayley retaining against Naomi and Tiffany Stratton. Thank God.
Yeah.
Damian Priest defeating Jey Uso. Biggest news out of that was, I guess, Jey Uso had a badass entrance.
Yeah. I saw that. They basically mixed up with Bray's Fireflies, so you had all the phone lights just doing the thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That.
Now I did catch the end of this match where JD Madonna kept trying to interfere, and you get Priest looking at him like, I told you not to be out here. What the hell are you doing? Finally, Priest gets to win. Well. Yeah, and Finn Balor too. And then Priest finally wins. Balor and McDonough go to beat up Jay. Priest doesn't just pat them on the chest and back them up away from Jay. He yeets, pun intended, he yeets JD Madonna across the ring and grabs Finn by the beard. That's how you keep a leprechaun from disappearing on you guys, didn't you know? Is you grab him by the beard. They can't get away.
Nice. Oh boy. Then we had some tag team women's titles changing hands from the Kabuki Warriors to your new champions, Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair.
Jade's first WWE title.
That was fast. That was really fast. Yeah. It's what, her second match, third match? Second match besides a Rumble, I think.
Fourth match.
Yeah,
including the Rumble fourth match.
Fought Chelsea too.
WrestleMania, don't forget.
Oh, then fifth. So we got Rumble, Mania, Raw against Chelsea. I believe there was the SmackDown before Backlash. They won a six person, and then this one.
All right. Still super early. I heard. I have not watched, but I heard it got a little sloppy. But good for them. Great title win. And then finally, we had Cody Rhodes defeat AJ Styles. News out of that again wasn't how great the match was. It's that AJ Styles had custom gear made to match the gear that he fought Dusty Rhodes in TNA back in 2000 whatnot.
Like
So
4.
pretty cool. On paper, that would be a match I'd be very interested in watching. I'll go back and watch this for sure. I think out of all the matches listed, this one would be the one that I'd be most excited about. So I will check that out. Cody retained.
Yep.
And that is Backlash from France for you. The only other news out of it was, people's positive and negative opinions on the crowd. There you go. But that doesn't mean we haven't watched Backlashes in the past. So we're going to take a quick hop back before we get into our list this week. And we're going to start furthest back in time with Backlash 2000. And this was brought to you by Jeffy.
Backlash 2000 was the hype for this was surrounding this was the return of Stone Cold since his hit and run on Survivor Series 99. He was supposed to be in the corner of The Rock, while McMahon and Stephanie were in the corner of Triple H, who was the champion at this time. Rock was trying to get his title back, but the cards were stacked against The Rock. You had Shane McMahon as a special ref, being a one-sided referee because Triple H is his brother-in-law, so it's like you had The Rock just trying to overcome the odds, and then at one point, Shane gets injured as Triple H is on a table. He was on a pedigree him, but then Rock countered with a rock bottom. Shane got on the top, trying to prevent it from happening, and then he ended up grabbing Shane too, and it was a double rock bottom, and that was a pretty cool spot. But then conspirators, and so they had Patterson and Bristol come in, and then here comes the return of Stone Cold Steve Austin, and guys, the pop that I remember watching it from my buddy Chris's house, who just had to celebrate his 40th birthday. Shout out to him. But literally, the chair shots were just so good. That was not edited out in the Peacock when I just watched it a few minutes ago. By the way, that was just so awesome. The pop that he got, he was hitting everyone by moves. Earl Hebner apparently was fired at this point, so Linda brought him out to she reinstated him, and then he was the one that made the cover. The place went nuts. It was just such a cool main event, and it's wild considering what happened 1 year later. A lot changed in the year, while Austin was against Triple H in this one, he joined forces with him, and then that's next year's. But this is one of my favorite ones that I remember watching at my friend's house when I was younger.
Definitely a good one. 24 years old at this point, which brings us
Jesus.
a little further into the future to Backlash 2001.
Oh, wait, no.
How about that, Rob?
2001. Yeah, so not gonna lie, never been a fan of Backlash, but I loved this feud. So a year later, Stone Cold and Triple H are now on the same side. The two-man power trip against the Brothers of Destruction. Some highlights include them breaking Kane's arm and The Undertaker saying, just in case you thought he was worried about that, that fire he was in? I'm the one that lit it. Can you imagine what I'm going to do to you? But yeah, they tried everything to make Austin a bad guy, for people to boo Austin. And so they thought, let's put Triple H with him. No one likes Triple H. And here's Earl Hebner.
This guy.
1, 2, 3. You hate to see it. You hate to see it, but
Except that guy in the front row that's very ecstatically throwing his arms in the air. That guy loved to see it. Mr. Gene Vest.
There goes Stephanie. Austin being
Oh, this was for the titles.
It was for all the titles.
All the
winner
titles.
take all.
Yeah.
Which,
Austin,
kayfabe, you wonder how Kane felt about Undertaker being like, so when we win, I'm the one that gets the world title. And Kane has to go, all right, I'll be Intercontinental champ, I guess.
Yeah, it didn't matter, huh?
Yeah, no, it didn't matter. This don't bother me. I like it. I like to bleed.
All
fun
right.
fact,
Yeah,
I was at that
it's a
live,
great feud.
that show. That was my
You're-
first. That was my first WWF pay-per-view. Actually, was that event?
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's the one that was in Chicago?
yeah, and that was also the
Gotcha.
one where Shane fought Big Show in Last Man Standing, and he fell from the set onto Big Show with an elbow.
Was that the one
insane.
with Test? With Test putting
Yeah.
him on like a dolly, a camera
Yeah,
dolly, and just
to hold him up.
lifting it up?
Yeah. That was
As a
insane.
referee, I'd be like, bullshit. He's not on his feet.
Jeez. Well, to be honest, that's when I was heavily watching wrestling. I don't remember any of it because my memory is awful. So I jumped way into the future to Backlash 2023, boys, where we saw Damian Priest take on Bad Bunny.
Oh boy,
This match was really good.
it was
This
surprisingly.
match, exactly, surprisingly. You've had a lot of actors, musicians, everything come in here and do a little match, not take it serious. They're normally in a tag match where they're standing on the outside of the ring for 9/10 of the match, then get the final tag and do a leg drop and win the match. So the fact that Bad Bunny comes in and he's a huge wrestling fan his entire life, takes it completely serious, does all the training, and this guy doesn't need to do this. He's selling out arenas on his own with his music, but he just loves it so much. He comes in, takes it serious, and puts on a much better match than he should. Add to that, they're in Puerto Rico.
Yep.
So everybody there loves Bad Bunny. But not only this match, every match of the night, this crowd was amazing. So it just added to the entire event. Backlash, it's the calm down pay-per-view after WrestleMania. So it's normally like, it's good. Not a lot usually comes out of it. But this one, people were talking about, and it was because of the crowd. The crowd was insane. It might as well have been WrestleMania for them because
this year and last year, just they were both over international. Because this year was in France, and then last year was in Puerto Rico.
True.
So they were both amazing.
But I didn't
crowds.
hear the same response for the France crowd as I did Puerto Rico. Everyone loved the Puerto Rico crowd. The France crowd, I saw mixed reviews.
From what I heard, they sounded amazing. There was at one point where during AJ's entrance, they would like were jumping or something. They made the hard cam bounce or something.
Yeah,
it was so wild. It was insane.
Yeah,
Michael Cole even made it. The cam was bouncing. Just the crowd. It was nuts.
Yeah, I can't speak on it myself. I do want to watch it back just to see some of the stuff they're talking about with the crowd, especially.
I was watching the other day, so.
But the crowd was the news last year, and this match made news too because it was a good match in all aspects, and then it was much better than anyone anticipated. So I had a great time with it.
Yeah, I need people to understand in just that staying in the ring segment, ignoring the rest of the match, which it's all excellent. Bad Bunny took more bumps than Bret Hart did in his final one-on-one match. Understand?
Yeah, that makes sense. Bret Hart should have been in there
Grammy-winning
for that final
Booker T
match. But
singing Bad Bunny.
yeah, exactly. So that catches us up here. In that first match, we saw, as you said, Gorillas of Destiny come together, but it's all under the reflective new bloodline, whatever this is. Bloodline has been a force for a couple of years now as one of the biggest stables in wrestling. So tonight we came to talk about some of our favorite stables, and each of us picked 3 with one, what you call it, honorable mention, Jeff?
Yeah.
So let's get to your honorable mention, because I do have an honorable mention myself. I just didn't pull
Alrighty.
anything for it.
It's on the screen, as you can see. Honorable mention of my favorite stable, Evolution. Now, the reason I did Evolution and not someone like the Horsemen, to be fair, I wasn't a big WCW guy growing up until the Monday Night Wars. So, like, the Horseman era for me was like around the time it was like at its last, ending, kind of thing with Flair and Anderson, but then Anderson getting injured and everything and not being able to wrestle anymore. So it was on its last, run, if you will. So I really didn't get into it as much. But Evolution, I've watched them form. I've watched them disband. I was there at the TD Waterhouse when they won all the gold, when Triple H had the world title. Randy had the IC, and then Batista and Flair, of all people, had the tag team titles. And I was, up in the rafters sitting and watching that pay-per-view from Armageddon. I believe it was 2003 or 2 or one of the two. Can't remember. So yeah, you had the current guys, you had the future guys, and you had the legend basically in the stable. Great stable, great.
Hence Evolution.
Yeah, and a one hell of a kick-ass theme song too with Motorhead. Evolution is a mystery.
Oh yeah.
So it was fun all around. And then when the times that they turned on each other with when Randy won the title, that was iconic. And then they had a feud. Randy and Triple H started their feud. And then of course Batista with the thumbs up and then thumbs down, and
Right.
then he to fit his WrestleMania opponents was iconic
Right.
as well.
Yep.
Even the match when Flair and Triple H finally split up, and they had that incredible cage match at Taboo Tuesday. Or Cyber, it was either called Taboo Tuesday or Cyber Sunday at that point, but it was incredible. My God.
One of those cheesy titles.
Yeah. So this whole faction had iconic moments throughout their careers.
Yep.
And it almost should have been Jindrak instead of Batista.
Oh yes.
And which is wild.
Well, my honorable mention is the Four Horsemen, because they're probably top 3 on everybody's list ever except ours. And that's, like you said, strictly because I'm a WWF kid. I never watched WCW, but to not see the significance of this group, even as somebody who never watched the product, that was the stable for so many. Like, it was the only stable. Like, it's them, that nothing could touch them. And it's made up of all legends. And how can you not have them somewhere on your list? Except, when we're all of a certain age group and didn't grow up on it. So, but they are completely deserving of it. It's just, you're listening to a couple people who never saw the product. Sorry. Let's get into the top 3 though. Since we both spoke, why don't we start with you, Rob?
All right. Well, I had to pick the one, the only, the Bullet Club. Hell yeah. So, okay. Full transparency. I think I said in the first episode, not a New Japan guy, but the legend of Bullet Club is so fascinating to me because it's just another stable in the beginning. You have Finn Balor, Carl Anderson, Tama Tonga, and Bad Luck Fale. And it's just those 4 guys. And then they bring in Doc Gallows. Okay, it's just those guys some more. But now you got Finn leaving. They bring in more people. And as people leave, they bring more people in to the point where, yeah, it's diminished right now. It's still going on. And they're like, at a certain point with the NWO, you got NWO B team where you had like Vincent, Stevie Ray, stuff like that. And it felt like it diminished the original. This one, yeah, they're not as big as they were with like Omega and Devitt, AJ like that, but they still have a presence. It reminds me kind of the First Order in the sequel trilogy of Star Wars, where it's like it's the Empire, but now it's just it's smaller. We're still there, but and just it's a who's who of wrestling in terms of members. You got now Finn Balor, Prince Devitt, the Good Brothers, Anderson and Gallows, Cody Rhodes, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks. Everybody has been in Bullet Club. Even
AJ
Jeff
Styles.
Jarrett. Yeah. Jeff Jarrett is a member of Bullet Club, is an official alumnus of Bullet Club. And remember, that's spelled GOONNEE. Gah. One more thing. Unless Bad Luck Fale joins WWE, the original we're 3/4 of the way from having the original Bullet Club in WWE at the same time.
Oh wow, yeah, that's cool.
We are. But we've seen what WWE does with that in the past.
In the past.
Bullet Club is my number 2 on my list. And strictly because Bullet Club is what made me become excited about wrestling again. I was very much just, watching clips here and there, but there was nobody that I followed, cared about. The Bucks, actually, I followed before they were in Bullet Club. They were some of the first wrestlers that add me on Twitter. They had a really good online presence and they were awesome and interacted with people and everything. So followed them. They joined Bullet Club. And yeah, I was excited for Finn to come to WWE. Huge Gorillas of Destiny fan, just like I said earlier in the show. And everyone that came in and out of there, it made them better. They became leaders and then they'd get literally kicked out by getting punted in the face. And a new leader would take over. And it was a gang in wrestling and it was awesome. And, they quote unquote copied, but they showed love to the business and everything that they loved growing up with the Two Sweets and everything else. That's what I love. Like if I would have become a wrestler, that's what I would have loved to have done. This is everything I loved growing up. Then it became a PG era, blah, blah, blah. Let's have fun. And that's what they were doing. They were having fun. And it made everybody a star. It was the first New Japan shirts to be sold or first wrestling shirts in a long time to be sold in a Hot Topic in the US.
Yeah.
Like these shirts were everywhere. My first one I had to get was a bootleg shirt because I wanted one so bad and they weren't selling. But then the first Ring of Honor show I went to, I bought not only the OG one, but everybody's individual shirts. Cody's first shirt. Cody Rhodes, hottest name in wrestling going right now. And it started with him joining Bullet Club. Before that, he was Stardust. And then he made his way to the Indies. He made his list and everything. And the noise for him was okay. I think it all turned for him when he joined Bullet Club. And so that shows you exactly how important this group has been to wrestling over the past 10 years or so. So that's my number 2 pick. Jeff, how about you with your number 3?
Well, funny you guys say Bullet Club is your numbers 3 and 2 because there was a certain sub stable within the Bullet Club that caught my attention. They're known as the Elite. Whether it be Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks with Hangman Page or Cody Rhodes or whatever, or Marty Skrull, who we don't really talk about these days, but
We
whatever
do
the
on this
incarnation.
show.
Yeah. Whatever the incarnation is, they set out. I think they've done what they've set out to do, and that's change the world, change the business, and because of elites, the elite, we got all elite wrestling now. We got a whole new, company started by them and Tony Khan and everything, and that was all thanks to the elite. And very first time I watched anything New Japan was like Wrestle Kingdom 11, I believe, was the first Kenny Omega versus Okada match. I saw Kenny Omega wrestle for the first time, and it was the most incredible thing. It was like 45-minute match, and it was the most incredible thing I ever saw. After that, as the months went by, they had Being the Elite on YouTube, and I binge watched every episode up until then. I think at that point there was only 50 or so episodes, so it wasn't that much to catch up on. But and that got popular, and
It got huge.
yeah. I mean, I've met Kenny, I've met the Bucks, I've met Toru Ibushi, who was part of the Golden Elite. All great people, all nice guys. Couldn't be any nicer. And yeah, I'm a fan to this day of them, even though whether they're fighting each other or they're united, they still put on some of the greatest wrestling that I've seen in recent history. So
Yeah.
Before
in my opinion.
we get off the Bullet Club train, the Bullet Train, if you will, it's a Japan reference, kids. Just the idea of the elite brings up just the outreach. Like the Click had NWO and DX going at the same time, but and NWO had NWO New Japan at the same time. But if you look at all the subgroups that Bullet Club has brought out, like New Japan still has Bullet Club, AEW's got Bullet Club Gold, WWE has the OC, TNA has ABC.
Yeah.
Just all these different groups, and they all branch
Japan
out
has
from
House of
Bullet
Torture.
Club.
They're in
Like
every
waiting-
major company has a presence of them.
Wow.
Yeah, and we're all waiting for at least Cody and Tamatonga to be in the ring, to not even do anything, just be in the ring, so that way people can go, oh.
I want. Well, they already screwed it up with AJ and Gallows and Anderson, but I would love, as much as I love Judgment Day, I would love Finn and Guerrillas of Destiny together.
Oh man, yeah. Did you see SmackDown?
No.
AJ and Cody had a promo, and Cody said, "You think you can beat me, but either way, this match will be just too sweet." And AJ went for it, and then just smacked him right in the face.
Yeah.
Yep. That's awesome. Let's move on. We're going to go back to me because we skipped my number 3.
Yeah.
Bullet Club was my number 2. My number 3 is the Wyatt family. So my boy, as he was known then, Luke Harper, from the Wyatt family, grew up and was trained in Rochester, New York, where I grew up outside of. When I left wrestling for a while, a little after college, I probably didn't watch it for a couple of years. What got me back into it was local indie wrestling, specifically something called 2CW. Our champion at the time was a man by the name of Brody Lee, and he wasn't there long when I started getting back into it because he was signed by the WWE. So this group, had my support from the start. But then you add to it the genius that is Bray Wyatt. And, my love for everything weird, horror-based, or in this case, cult-like aspect. And this, was just everything I loved. So you get cult leader with that Southern vibe. It's known as the family, like the Manson family, and like every aspect of this group and how great they were on the mic and how great they were in the ring just drew me in. Loved the Wyatt family. I thought it didn't last long enough. You know, I like the Fiend and Bludgeon Brothers for the couple minutes that they were that, but the original Wyatt family, I think, was too short. They could have done a lot more with it, and I loved this group.
They were certainly not a group you ever wanted to see break up. Like eventually you see groups and you're like, okay, well, I can't wait till he breaks away and turns on him. This was a family you were like, let's get them bigger. Let's get
Yeah.
more people into this.
Right.
And they did with
Initiation,
Strowman.
like cult initiations and stuff. Like
Yeah.
they could have done so much with it.
Which is why I'm so fascinated by the Wyatt 6 stuff that's going on right now.
Yeah.
Because it's like, on one hand, it can just be a tribute act to Bray. But if you add the whole cult leader and now he's kind of a messiah, like a martyr for this cult,
Yeah.
So good.
chef's kiss. Perfect.
Definitely. Wrestling went to the more realistic, everybody using real names kind of stuff. But what drew me in is it was the crazy, outlandish characters. At the end of the day, I want a living comic book come to life in front of my eyes. So I need some, there's a reason The Undertaker is The Undertaker, like a dead man. We all bought into it because we want those characters. And that's what I love about this is the character behind the wrestling. I don't think we see enough of it. And when we do, it's usually cheesy. So the fact that somebody could do it and do it this well just drew me right in. And I think the whole group was amazing.
One more little thing about Wyatt. Highly recommend to check out that Wyatt documentary on Peacock. Because that was
Oh, yeah.
great and heavy and all the emotions.
Right.
But watch till the very end. A lot of people know what it is now. But
Absolutely.
It's still good stuff. Great documentary.
Yep. Back to you, Rob. Number 2.
All right. Well, some people call it a knockoff. Some people call it a ripoff. I like to call it the first NWO I was ever a fan of. That's the Wolfpack. So the red and black attack of the Wolfpack. Ding, 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 ding. Kevin Nash taking no more of Hogan's bullshit and be like, okay, well, I'm gonna grab my guys and we're just gonna rock our own thing because you don't own the name NWO. We can change shit. And just red's always been one of my favorite colors, and so the red and the black just matches perfectly. And then you have Sting. You put the number one enemy of the NWO and you brought him into the Wolfpack, and now he's got red and black face paint on. And oddly enough, the first main event I ever went to as a wrestling fan, my dad took me to a Nitro in Chicago, the main event, Wolfpack Sting and the Ultimate Warrior against Bret Hart and Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, we were at the same one.
Me and Jeffy apparently were at the same show. Also highlighted by Chucky talking shit to Rick Steiner, which terrified me as a kid. Now I love it. But yeah, the Wolfpack was awesome. And whenever Sting breaks out the red and black, it tugs at my heart a little bit. Sorry, my throat. Thankfully, the brand new 2K24 video game, Bray Wyatt's NWO persona from WrestleMania 36, comes out to the Wolfpack theme. So I was able to take Kevin Nash in the game and give him his WCW theme, which was the Wolfpack theme. And also Conan, great member of the Wolfpack.
Oh, God. Well, I'll say it. I hate the Wolfpack. I think the Wolfpack formed when NWO was floundering because they made everybody in the world a member of it. And so it was like, oh crap, nobody's left in WCW anyone cares about. So we got to have two groups that actually want to fight each other. So let's make the Wolfpack.
No,
I hate
I-
black and red Sting. Hey, let's make his white makeup red.
He's supposed to be the Crow, damn it.
That's right. Red face paint Sting. Throw that away for me. Yeah, this is when I stopped caring about WCW. NWO, WCW had me for a minute until 3/4 of the roster were in an NWO group at one time. And I was just like, all right, you've lost control. I'm out.
to be fair, I agree. If they had kept the numbers short and it was just this short, like 6-month Wolfpack versus Hollywood storyline, I would totally be down for that and love it even more. This is
Yes.
strictly nostalgia. This is
Yeah.
strictly the fact that I love the theme, the color scheme. The first shirt my dad ever gave me from a Nitro was, they sell it on WWE Shop now. It's the wolf wearing the NWO shirt.
Yeah.
It's the red and black attack. I love it.
But as you stated prior to us recording, there was a reason Nitro tickets were free.
I will say, okay, I'll tell you the worst part of the Wolfpack is when they attack the NWO
man.
in the background and they're trying to like deface Hogan's car or something, and Sting's trying to get Kevin Nash's attention. And it's very weird seeing your very silent hero Sting in red and black now just going, "Hey, sexy. Hey, sexy. Give me the paint, sexy." And it's like,
Yeah.
what happened to the Rafters guy?
All of it's bad. The NWO are supposed to be this gang, this group, and a gang. The Wolfpack said, all right, well, if you're a gang, we're going to be more hood. We're going to wear backwards bandanas like Tupac and be more gangsta. And that's why I was like, come on. You're all a bunch of middle-aged white dudes at the end of the day. Quit wearing your Tupac bandanas. Like, Conan's the only one who can pull it off, but Conan just irritates the shit out of me no matter what. So,
But this was back when he could still like move
No.
somewhat and wrestle.
no. And I say that, and that's with me having dinner with Conan after WrestleMania last year. And he got up and he was the most polite. Like, he was a really nice guy. But I'm telling you, they're in WCW. Like, he was a nice guy. I got nothing personally against him. In WCW, I couldn't. He wasn't for me.
Okay.
Some of his,
Well, send my piece
his
to the
Mexico
Wolfpack.
stuff, I thought he was great. When he used to be masked, like, good stuff.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Was Conan in the LWO? Or was
I don't
that
think
all
so.
just the cruiserweight mid card?
No, I don't
Yeah.
think
Yeah,
so.
it was Eddie and the no. If anything, they wanted Ray in it, but they'd never asked Conan.
Rey Mysterio and the LWO is a completely different episode. We can touch on it. I call
talking
bullshit
about
on this newest run.
The original, yeah. Anywho,
Nostalgia.
so you guys
Anywho,
done.
on to you, Jeff.
Well, now what do I do? Do I know
Now you're worried that I'm gonna shit on your picks.
number two? Well, yeah. Well, I'll get to you in a second. But
Well,
number
yeah.
two, do I do my number two? Talk about my number one later.
You're number
Spoiler
2.
alert. Yeah. Anyway, no, number two. I got 2 words for you. You're not down with my number one pick. My number two is DX. Because, I mean, let's face it, this was the time, again, watching back and forth WCW, WWF, dawn of the Attitude Era, 2 guys, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, along with Chyna and Rick Rude at the time, against the Hart Foundation. Another great stable. Unfortunately, I can only pick 3, so they didn't make the cut. Just, I was a huge Shawn guy. Obviously, I still am a huge Shawn guy. When this group formed, it was just great. A bunch of degenerates. I love the stuff they did. At one point, Shawn was both European and WWF champion, and then they had to defend the title. He had to defend his title against Triple H on Christmas Day, and they did that mockery match where they were just running the ropes, and Shawn laid down, and then Triple H pinned him 1, 2, 3 for the European title. So they each had a belt. It was great. They were known for saying "suck it" and doing a crotch chop, which I'm sure for a majority of us in this trio got us in trouble in high school, but who gives a shit? We were, we didn't care.
Middle school. Don't age us
That's
up.
true. That's
Yeah,
true.
fifth
Middle
grade,
school,
bro. Fifth grade.
middle school. I was 97, 90. Yeah, I was 8th grade at the time, going into high school. Nevertheless, of course, then when Sean got injured, and it was the reformed DX of Triple H as leader now, and you had my man X-Pac come in, and you had the New Age Outlaws. Oh, so good. And the skits they did, and the parodies they did, so good. Just DX is a fun group. And even the stuff, in the later days when Sean and Triple H reformed in 2006, I enjoyed too. Because that was even funnier stuff. Albeit Sean's a reformed man now. He's, Christian, didn't do that much raunchy stuff, but Triple H could. So it was all great. Definitely worth, my second favorite. Surprisingly, they're not my first, but there's a reason my number one's my number one, and I'll get to it in a minute. But yeah, love DX.
Gotta say, bringing up that European title match with Shawn and Triple H brings up one of my favorite DX moments is a 4-corner tag team match for the tag team titles. And I can't remember. I know LOD was in it. I believe the biker gang at the time,
DOA. Disciples of
New Age
Apocalypse.
Outlaws, and I believe the Nation. No, the Headbangers. And they tag both Road Dogg and Billy Gunn in, and they're like, haha, now you have to fight each other. Ha ha ha. And they look like they're about to compete, and then Road Dogg just lays down and they pin each other 1, 2, 3 to retain the titles. It's perfect.
So D-Generation X is my number one pick, and it's the only number one pick. While WCW had their gang of cool guys, these were degenerates, and these were if I had
a VHS.
If I had a group and a gang,
Still do.
this would be us. We wouldn't be the cool guys acting like we're part of a gang. We would be degenerates. We'd be the ones making comments at the higher ups and wearing the spit guard when Sergeant Slaughter was talking to us with the wipers on it and just irritating the hell out of our bosses. And they were so much fun. Yes, I did get in trouble. And yes, my entire 8th grade yearbook, everybody that signed it pretty much wrote "suck it." So that's what my entire, and because everybody knew how big of a fan I was of D-Generation X. Sean has been my favorite wrestler since turning heel. I was always a heel fan. And so this group is my all-time favorite. They kept it small, short, to the point. They never outgrew their welcome. And whether it was 4 or 3 or 5, they had it, you could tell. And just like I said about Bullet Club, they were having a great time with what they were doing. I know Rick Rude wasn't in the group for that long before he disappeared, but the stuff that they did would have me cracking up, from the original incarnation with Sean and Hunter to the second incarnation, to them, going in on the Tank to try and break their friends out of WCW who were holding their friends captive.
POWCW, let my people go.
Yeah.
Like that alone, I think, comes to mind more than anything any stable has ever done in my mind. It made a lasting impression to the point where Bullet Club or the Elite, copied it years later, and we loved it. When Cody's standing on a bus with a megaphone, like,
and reciting the Declaration of Independence. Independence Day speech, rather.
Yes, the Independence Day speech.
Yeah.
So, and that's just one thing they did. Let alone, I'm in 8th grade, and this was the group getting girls in the audience to flash them and stuff like that. That's gonna, hey, I'll take that. So these were a group of degenerates, and by all means, I am would be much more a part of a degenerate group than a cool gang any day of the week. And Shawn Michaels is the greatest wrestler of all time. So
if you think about it, the Click facilitated like the cleanest trade in the Monday Night Wars. It just took a while. So DX sent over Rick Rude, and then a little while later, the NWO sent X-Pac.
The Click is probably the greatest stable of all time, if you want, but it was never on TV.
That's
Behind
true.
the scenes, they're probably the greatest stable of all time because they created two of the biggest stables of all time.
Yep.
So really, number one in my book is the Click, but
The
they
Click.
were never officially on TV.
Right.
Honorable mention to the Bone Crew for BSK, Bone Street Crew,
Yeah.
Undertaker, Godfather, Mark Henry.
Nope, no honorable mention to that. Nope.
So,
Nobody even knows who was all a part of that. Everyone knows the Click.
not everyone knows Just Incredible was like the hornswoggle of the Click.
Oh God.
Like
That's
he hung out with them, but he's like, nah, I'm with them. I'm one of them. They're just like, let him through. But like he could sit with us.
Swoggle's an official member of DX.
Okay, Just Incredible is the pre-honorary Oos Sami Zayn of DX.
Yeah.
So, I just wanted you to know the locker room saying things.
All right. That brings us to your number one, Rob.
No, see, my number one was Bullet Club. So this was in no particular order for me, except for Wolfpack.
I am
Wolfpack was always going to be mid.
so glad to hear that.
Now, we weren't asked, full disclosure, we weren't asked who the best stable was. We were asked 3 of our favorites.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got a little tickle in my throat. Let me have a sip here of this delicious Pepsi.
God.
While he does that, I would just like to point out Rob's t-shirt is advertising another podcast that happens to be part of this network that people should check out called The Power Chamber.
That brings us to
not the shitty corporate sponsor that he's trying to do.
It's like people only care about labels, man.
If they give us money, he can drink that Pepsi all day long. Shut your fucking mouth.
Yeah, 100. Well, that's
They're not though. So let's go.
They're not,
the suspense is killing me. I think I know who it is, but
no, you wouldn't, because they wouldn't make anybody's top 10.
Okay, fair enough. But it was the Straight Edge Society people.
Thank you.
SES.
Shit. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Full disclosure, guys. I'm a punk guy. Much to the chagrin of Josh. I'm a punk guy.
Fuck you, Josh. No.
Do I always agree with him? No. Do I think Brawl Out was his fault? Yes. About 75% his fault. But for a time, this was the best thing going on SmackDown. From recruiting Festus and turning him into Luke Gallows, taking Joey Mercury and revitalizing his career a little bit after Eminem. Serena Deeb. We got Serena Deeb in the WWE.
Revitalizing his career.
Oh, come on. After he got his face crushed in, they never tried for an Eminem reunion again.
Rob, this is a prime example of a stable that elevated one member and one member only, and everybody else was background noise.
What do you think Evolution was? Evolution
4 Hall of Famers? 4 Hall of Famers? 4 out of 4 members are Hall of Famers? I think that's the complete opposite of what we're talking about.
Serena Deeb, highly regarded as one of the best female wrestlers of all time.
Today,
Joey Mercury, still employed by WWE.
Producer.
Luke Gallows, part of the Bullet Club.
Drowning in the WWE again.
Hey, drown in the WWE, you have to be actually on
left
TV.
WWE.
You have to be on TV to drown. That's beside the point.
And Serena Deeb is only lifted up by smart marks.
What do you think we are?
Hey, absolutely. But talk to just any random WWE fan right now, which is where most of the money in wrestling is. Ask them who Serena Deeb is. I think she's a great wrestler. But as far as this lifting her up, all I can remember is she had to shave her head for it. And that's about the extent of what I remember Straight Edge Society doing for her.
I loved like the hypocrisy of CM Punk talking down to Rey Mysterio, saying, "You hide behind a mask. I'm out here with the people. I'm the voice of the people." And then he gets his head shaved and immediately starts wearing a mask. I love the hypocrisy of it. Big
I
Show.
love the
Having
hypocrisy
him in
of Luke Gallows being in something called the Straight Edge Society when we know what a drinker he is.
It's true.
Although I would love at least some point for them to reference Festus one more time. But just out of nowhere, just like a double bell ring, and he's just
Yeah.
But yeah, just the moments I could think of, him getting his head shaved, him, yes, it's a lot of him losing and him getting his comeuppance, but I loved it. Him on the ladder with Big Show being held up while Big Show takes his mask off, great. Just the way he sung Happy Birthday to Rey Mysterio's daughter, like, holy fuck, like that was some creepy shit. I actually played it for a buddy of ours on his birthday. It was great. Joey Hudson, shout out. It's also Matt Damon's birthday. But yeah, the Straight Edge Society. I was there for the lulls. I was there for the laughs, and he creeped me the fuck out when he was feuding with Rey Mysterio. So, and heel Punk is the best Punk, especially when he's full. I'm straight edge. That means I'm better than you. But
I
still,
have nothing else. I think I said enough about it.
It's a decent pitch. I liked it. I mean, I'm a Punk guy
This
too.
was mostly to tick off Josh with the Pepsi and the the Punk.
Well,
So Jeff, what's your number one?
I didn't see. Too sweet, me baby.
So we're all in agreement. The Click is the number one.
Listen, though, this was something. This was when it started. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't think there'd be a DX if there was no NWO. Just saying. WWF needed something to combat NWO, and they found it in DX. But this is again, nothing against DX. I love DX, obviously. I'm a big Sean guy. However, originally my very first, when I first started, big fan of Hogan. For him to turn heel, that was huge back in the day. Now it's like, but then it was huge. And to have guys like Hall and Nash, who were in the WWF previously, then they came on Nitro week after week, and just we didn't know what was going on. It was so incredible. And like I said, I've always been a big fan of that first sold out pay-per-view. I know a lot of people shit on it, but I was always a fan of it because it felt cool, it felt different. And guys, I was 97 that later in that year. My favorite member was Waltman, so it's six pack. I was 6-pack for Halloween that year, so it was incredible. This is gonna be really. I made my own NWO home movies where I pretended to be different members of NWO on my Tyco video cam, black and white video camera, back in '96.
We're gonna need those. We're gonna need those
that
videos.
I want to see.
No.
Jeffy, we're gonna find those videos, my
You
friend.
can't. I have them. I own them, but VHS.
You're sending them. It's
not
going
online.
down.
Anyways,
They can be online.
We can get a sponsor with Legacy Box.
no, we're good. But
Support
anyways,
the channel, man.
and when I wouldn't record, I would tape record NWO stuff too. I was a huge NWO mark. I made my own NWO shirt before I got this shirt. This is the repro, but I'm saying I had the original back in the day, but then it was sold. I mean, hell, I didn't mention them either, but they got parodied in ECW by BWO, and I love the BWO too, with Stevie Richards and Blue Meanie and Hollywood Nova. I was just such an incredible, cool stable at the time. Before things started, then you had the breakup and the Wolfpack. Which the Wolfpack was okay, but then you had NWO 2000. That was a little. But the first incarnation, Hall, Nash, Hogan, Six, the Giant, and then he wasn't in, and then Bischoff. That was to me, that was the NWO that I truly loved, and it was just incredible. So huge fan of them, and that's why they're my favorite faction of all time, and I'm sticking to it.
They're highly regarded as the best faction of all time. To me, nothing's done right the first time. You take what you did wrong, tweak it, and then come out with a better product, and that was DX. But I will say, Hall, Nash, and Hogan are 3 of my favorite wrestlers of all time. And that original night with the Hogan turn is one of the greatest moments in wrestling history. The amount of shit in the ring that was thrown because people were that pissed off about it is amazing. You can't reproduce that. Well, that's legit heat, and it was fantastic. I think the first year of the NWO, maybe a little less, it might be the best faction if it was just that.
And then
But
that build
the NWO killed itself. So if you're talking longevity, they killed themselves by everyone wanting to be a part of the cool group. But I do agree. If you just snip out the group that you said, for me it was the original 3. But you can add 6 in there.
I've always been a fan of Roman, so yeah.
You can add him in there, and I still think great. Giant, as soon as Bischoff wanted to be a part of the cool crew and put on his leather jacket, nah. Nah. Easy E, get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know
longevity wise, that's where they lose me. I think you take the entire DX run, I had a great time. The entire run. NWO, the best run possible at the start. And then they killed themselves.
Part of the mystique too when they started was that it was former WWF guys. Like that was from Hall saying you wanted to go to war, you're gonna get one.
Right, and then we're invading you.
Yeah, Hall, Nash, Hogan. And it's like, oh shit, our biggest get from the WWF turned on us. And then DiBiase, and then the 1, 2, 3 kid. It's like, holy fuck.
That still works. Giant
like that
was the WCW bred. Bischoff, enemy of WWE. That's where, like, if they would have just made it ex-WWE guys and made it an invasion and made it, that would have been the way for me. But no denying, it probably is the biggest faction of all time in wrestling. And that's why they were mimicked by the Bullet Club. That's why you're saying 97 and people are still talking about it and wearing their merch today. Like, it is one of the biggest things that ever happened. But I think it's one of the biggest things that ever happened because of that original night and how it shook the world, like how it shocked everybody was. And I think if it would have been Sting that was that third member, like it was original, it wouldn't have had as big of a. It had to have been Hogan, and it was played perfectly.
The biggest misstep, in my opinion, just in terms of story that the NWO did, was when Bret Hart came in. They don't do anything with him for months. Doesn't show up right after Montreal for months. And then they say, oh, he's cool with Hall and Nash. Most of DX's storyline with him was that, oh, we did the curtain call with Hall and Nash. We're friends. And I think Sean even cut a promo after Montreal. He goes, yeah, you can go over there, but, it's run by my best friends and they will eat you for breakfast. And then they let him into their club. That's why I liked Kyle O'Reilly in AEW so much, was they kept this tension with him and Adam Cole from NXT. I like it when we can branch out, which is probably why we all said Bullet Club and the Elite, is because it spreads out across all of wrestling. So you have this story that you can build on no matter what company you're in.
That's right. All right, boys. That wraps up another edition of Wrestling Buddies. I am Joshua Reckless. Find us on everything, all your socials at Hey Buddy Pod, over at Patreon/HeyBuddy or HeyBuddy.com, and that will bring you to everything. Rob?
What he said. Check out the Power Chamber on the Hey Buddy feed. Support the Patreon to see the video version of it. We're on season 2 right now. It's the newest one we just recorded. It's the lowest I've ever felt watching Power Rangers. So be on the lookout for that one.
Nice.
It was not a good time.
Nice.
It wasn't a good time. A lot of fucks were said. So this is the one, or like the 4th one for this episode. Many more on Power Chamber coming up.
And Jeff.
And I am Jeffy. You can find me on Instagram at jammin_Jeff. You can find me on YouTube at Jam Productions Incorporated. And you can find me on Patreon and Facebook, facebook.com/Cooking with Jeffy and patreon.com/Cooking with Jeffy. So that's about it.
Cool. All right. Thanks for joining us. Thanks to my buddies for bringing their lists.
Yep.
1, 2, 3. Fuck you. I win.